The sun comes up on America. Across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, let's kick off another brand new day here of the program. Glad to have you here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom as we do every single day, making sure you have the right people with you when it matters the most. Let's go get rolling. Three big things this hour. Number one, Virginia. And the courts there have struck down the redistricting, at least temporarily. Circuit Court judge says this is unconstitutional, locked it in, and did not certify the election. Number two, the ceasefire remains in place this morning in Iran, but there is no telling how long it will last. Iran bleeding financially in a way they may not recover, but still no end in sight. And number three, I want to spend some time today. I just want to share a bunch of different things with you, because the Democrats just seem to be on the crazy train more and more every day. And I want to stop today and show you one example after another of what the Democrats in 2026 are doing. It's important for you to hear directly from them, then you know. As we get into this, I want you to do one thing. Remember, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Believe them. All right? Let me give you the first example here. Senator Elizabeth Warren backs the guy with a Nazi symbol on his chest, tattooed right there up in Maine. He's running for U.S. Senate. He also supports rapists, apparently. He's crazy, but what's worse, what he's saying or supporting what he is saying? Here's the senator from Massachusetts.
I want to ask you, Senator Warren, about something else that happened last weekend, which is you campaigned with Graham Plattner, who is ahead of that state's very pivotal Democratic primary. And I wanted to ask you about something you said. You said he's your kind of man. And I've interviewed you for a long time and watched your hearings and listened to your questions. You care about character. This is a guy that had a chest tattoo with a Nazi symbol. Okay, he apologized for it. It's a guy that reportedly wrote that people concerned about rape should take some responsibility for themselves and not get so effed up that they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to. He praised military tactics used by Hamas, reportedly, in comments online and Reddit when they were murdering Israeli soldiers. So I'm just curious why you think he's your kind of man.
So, as you rightly point out, he has apologized. He's out meeting with the people of Maine every single day.
So here's a guy in Maine who believes that it's okay that he had this Nazi tattoo. I didn't know what it was, really. A guy who has espoused the most extreme positions, and there you have the senator of Massachusetts campaigning with him. He's not quite as bad as Hassan Piker, but, well, he's not much better, right? All right, so we just mentioned gerrymandering. Gerrymandering has been put on hold in the state of Virginia. The appeals court, or the circuit court there, says, no, this is not constitutional. Nothing you did here was done by the book. In fact, it was all done contrary to the law in the state of Virginia. It will be appealed immediately. But at the same time, the state of Florida is considering a special session to redraw the congressional lines in the Sunshine State. And, well, Hakeem Jeffries, of all people, is threatening Florida, threatening them, if they go ahead with their special session, which will be convened here shortly. Hakeem Jeffries, who was fully supportive of the Virginia efforts, threatening Florida. Listen to this.
Our message to Florida Republicans is F around and find out. If they go down the road of a DeSantis dummy-mander, the Florida Republicans are going to find themselves in the same situation as Texas Republicans, who are on the run right now. And under no circumstances are Texas Republicans picking up 5 seats. They'll be fortunate if they get 2 or 3. While in California, we are going to get all 5. The Republicans are dummy-mandering their way into the minority before a single vote is cast, because they started this war, and we're going to finish it.
I see. Well, there's Hakeem Jeffries, who supported gerrymandering Virginia and anywhere else I can figure out, and obviously California. He agrees with that. By the way, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida said, you know what, Hakeem, why don't you come on down? Come on down. We'll take you to the governor's mansion. We can go fishing. Come on down to Florida. Here's what he said.
This guy Jeffries popping off in Washington about Florida. He wants to be Speaker of the House, and he's kind of like, you know, more liberal than Pelosi and all this other stuff from New York City. I just want to know, I just say, oh, Florida can't do, we're going to go after Florida. Please be my guest. I will pay for you to come down to Florida and campaign. I'll put you up in the Florida governor's mansion. We'll take you fishing. We'll do all this stuff. There's nothing that could be better for Republicans in Florida than to see Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries, everywhere around this state. Voters will not like what they see. They will not want that type of ideology. And so the door is open. The invitation's out there. I don't think there'd be anything better for the Republican Party of Florida but to have Jeffries there. Now, I kind of feel bad for the guy because he's as left as they come. He's always going left. And yet the far left hates him. You know, they call him a dollar store Obama. They call him AIPAC Shakur, all these different derogatory names that they do. And so he's tried to ingratiate himself with there, but they're just not drinking the Kool-Aid, and so they give him a hard time. So I kind of feel bad for that. But please be my guest to come down in Florida. We would love to have you. Any questions?
Love to have you. Yeah, and I believe they would. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries campaigning in Florida would be the best thing possible for Florida Republicans and the worst thing possible for Democrats there. And one thing is for sure, as you look at all this redistricting, is that the Democrats, they'll say anything, but they don't mean any of it. They will say anything to win. For example, in Virginia, the governor there, when running, Abigail Spanberger, said she would never consider redistricting. This doesn't go back very far. Just before the election last year, listen.
Short answer is no. Certainly, Virginia, by constitutional amendment, has a new redistricting effort that was put in place and first utilized after in the 2021 redistricting. Certainly, I've been watching with interest what other states are doing, but I have no plans to redistrict Virginia.
And then, of course, she got behind it, 100% behind it. She pushed it. Barack Obama pushed it. They all pushed it. The same people that said it was wrong for Texas to do it did it in California, contrary to California's constitution. They did it in Virginia, contrary to Virginia's constitution. They don't care about you, primarily. They don't care about any of this. They care about winning. They care about power. They care about control. And mostly that means control of you. All right? They also root for Iran and the war that is currently going on. We'll talk about that coming up. Good Thursday morning to you. We'll be right back. All right, back to it now. It's one example after another. You can just go through, and this is any given day. This is from yesterday. You go through, you find these conversations, comments, and I look at them and I go, really? Because there is only one tactic. There is only one agenda for the Democrats. Destroy Donald Trump's second term the way they earnestly tried to destroy his first. Undermine him, destroy him, knock him down, whatever it takes. Truth doesn't matter. It's the first casualty here in the war of words. Here's a nice example from yesterday. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, is battling back and forth with Democrat Senator Chris Coons and puts him on notice for parroting a DNC talking point that Iran somehow has been making money, $14 billion, in sanctions relief since the war began on the 28th of February. Let's just say they didn't agree. Listen.
I wondered, Mr. Secretary, given that your department enforces sanctions, if you have a sense just how much Iran has gained through sanctions relief since the war began. I'll tell you, estimates are $14 billion.
The $14 billion is a myth, and unfortunately a DNC talking point that I've been subjected to many times. If anyone would like to show me where that $14 billion comes from.
I look forward to an exchange of details on that, Mr. Secretary.
We can exchange it in a very public forum.
I'm not the DNC, I'm the senator from Delaware.
Well, I on every talk show, and every senator seems to have.
Do you disagree that Iran has received significant additional revenue from their sales of oil because of sanctions relief?
I couldn't disagree more.
Couldn't disagree more. It's a bogus talking point. Just one aimed at confusing people and trying to make Democrats look better, which is a difficult thing to do these days, right? So there's one hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday. Meanwhile, down the hall, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. embarrasses Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia, who tries to throw at him a gotcha question. Doesn't go all that well. Listen to this.
Gutting the very offices that keep American families safe from disturbing and deadly infectious diseases.
Senator,
sir, hold on, sir.
Senator, there's 1 to 3 rabies cases a year in the United States. I think one person manning that office full time probably can handle that traffic. In terms of prion disease, it's very, very rare.
Well, what he was talking about there, Warnock, the senator from Georgia, was trying to accuse RFK Jr. of getting rid of several employees in one office there at Health and Human Services. The office dealt with rabies. And as you heard the secretary say, we have 1 to 3 cases of rabies annually. I think one person can handle the workload. Yeah, probably. One person can probably oversee rabies in America. And whether there's an outbreak, there's always rabies in America. Few people ever get it. Few. And it's treatable, generally, if you catch it on time. Also, RFK Jr. demolished another Democrat senator, accusing him of misinformation. Same hearing. Same back and forth. Same Democrat attack dogs going after Bobby. Listen.
Countering misinformation about measles and the MMR.
Tell me one piece of misinformation I've ever said. One statement, just one.
If I could continue, Mr.
You
Secretary.
say you have a list of them. Read one.
Tailoring outreach to communities with declining vaccination rates as well. Measuring whether those campaigns are working.
You're just making things up, Senator. You're just inventing stuff. Tell me one piece of it. You say you have a whole list there. Read me one thing I've ever said.
Mr. Secretary, if you want to run for the United States Senate and get on the dais here, you're happy to do it. You should resign from the HHS today and run for office. And you can be in here, you can ask anyone all the questions you want, Mr. Secretary. I'm asking you some questions. What I just gave you wasn't even.
You're not asking questions.
Mr.
You're just making statements that are incorrect.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, you're not asking questions. You're saying things that are incorrect. You're lying, Senator. Saying things that just are not true. Are not true. All right, let's go to Iowa. How about this one? This one's kind of fun. In Iowa, there's a woman who says she's a pastor, Sarah Trone Garriott, running for Congress in Iowa. says she's a pastor, but has a long history of defending witchcraft and Wiccans and officiating at weddings of Satanists. Yeah, she says she's a pastor, a Christian pastor, and officiates satanic weddings. Well, one of these folks with a phone and a microphone got to ask a couple of questions. Let's see how this goes. Here it is.
Senator, as a woke pastor, do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in black magic? What other occult rituals do you endorse, Senator? Do you have a response to the question, Senator? Do you not have a response to the question, Senator? Do you not have a response to the question, Senator? Do you believe in ghosts, Senator? Do you believe in black magic, Senator? Thank you for being here. So you do not have a response to the question, Senator?
She has no response. She has no answer. She has nothing. And then she runs and hides. And these examples, you could just go on all day long. It's remarkable. Hey, I'd like to tell you about GhostBed. We've been using it now for a few weeks. We're really happy with it. I woke up feeling, man, this is great. This is how it's supposed to be. GhostBed is an American-made sleeping system, not just mattresses, a sleep system. Designed to give you relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. We've noticed the difference right from the beginning. But if you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, waking up exhausted, well, it's time to try something different. GhostBed gives you 101 nights to check it out. If you don't like it, you can send it back risk-free. And GhostBed right now offering my audience their lowest prices of the season plus an extra 10% off. They're American-made. The prices are better, and the product is better, too. Go to ghostbed.com/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber, and you'll be happy you did. Tell me how it comes out. I'll be right back. All right, like I was telling you at the top of the program, in Virginia, Circuit Court Judge Jack Hurley ruling yesterday that the referendum to redistrict the state of Virginia is flat out unconstitutional for a whole host of reasons, not just one, not some technical issue. It's everything. It's everything. Shortly after the ruling came down, and he said, "I'm going to block it." He did not certify he did not allow the election to be certified. So the election, as we sit here today, is not even certified. The vote was about 2.5 points, which means, by the way, the Republicans outperformed their voting trends in 2024. They outperformed their voting trends from the election for the governor last year. That's not a good sign for the Democrats, by the way. Virginia has a process to amend its constitution that has the General Assembly pass an proposed amendment, then have a state election, an intervening election where the new House of Delegates was elected and so forth. And then, see, you have to have an intervening election. This didn't happen. You have to have enough time in front of it. You have a 45-day election season. So voting began September 19th, 2025, and they continue to play these games. There are other equally problematic issues in the state, and Mr. Cuccinelli is pursuing this. Former DHS Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli pursuing all of this. Big constitutional hurdles because everything they did was not by the book. It was basically an end run to try to retain power in Washington. It's nothing about Virginia. It's all about power in Washington. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. Did you know that over 90% of Americans don't get enough essential vitamins and minerals from food alone, and some research suggests natural vitamins may be superior to synthetic ones? Obviously. Longevity is an excellent source of over 20 natural vitamins and minerals from real food sources, not synthetic. It's a complete nutritional support system that gives you everything you need to age well. You're going to love this product. It's been around for years. Now it's available to you. LongevityWellness.co. These are the most nutritious shakes you're ever going to have. Kids are going to love them. If you're older, trying to lose weight, all of it. LongevityWellness.co, promo code Gruber at checkout for a special discount for you, the viewers of this program. I'll be right back. All right, back to it now. We've been talking about this story for a couple of days now. And I wanted to dig into this one because I don't see how this is, I just don't see how it's legal. And that is a public school in Minneapolis is doing some upgrades on the school. Remodeling, right? As part of the remodeling efforts, they have designed and planned to build, at least at this point, a Muslim prayer room. A Muslim prayer room so that the students that are Muslim can pray 5 times a day, and there's a foot washing station. And there's only one reason for this. Let's be honest, there's only one reason. It's to take care of Muslim students in the school. These are the same schools, by the way. It is not legal to put up the 10 Commandments on the wall of a public school in the state of Minnesota. Joining me is David Coleman from the Coleman Legal Group. He spends a lot of time looking at constitutional issues. David, good morning. Glad to have you back on the program. I needed somebody that could sort this out because you and I talked about this extensively on the phone. You said, well, you know, if they open it to anybody, they might be able to thread the needle here. They might be able to say, well, yes, it's a Muslim prayer room, but anybody's welcome. But man, this just doesn't sit well with me. Let's talk about the legality here, David. And again, thank you for being here. But where are we legally building a Muslim prayer room with a foot washing station and all the tenets of Islam?
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of issues there. I think we could start with, if this was a Muslim prayer room only, and it could only be used by Muslims or for Muslim prayer, that's clearly unconstitutional. They cannot do that. If they have a generic prayer room where anybody can go of any faith, Jew, Christian, whatever, Hindu, doesn't matter, and you can come in and pray, if it's across the board, it's open to anybody, that becomes a much closer question. Then you have other issues, Steve, like, for example, is this a room dedicated just to prayer and religious ceremony? Because then that could be construed as the school endorsing or maybe getting too close to supporting religious beliefs, regardless of what they are, versus, well, we just have a classroom, we have an open classroom and kids can go and pray or do whatever. So you see the difference there. Also, another issue that could come into play is disruption. I mean, if students have to leave classes 5 times a day to go pray, I think that could be fairly disruptive.
Well, and that's pretty clear.
Right. Stop that. Yes. Yeah.
As I read the law here, you've hit it exactly, which is why you're here, of course. As long as they're prayer student initiated, they have to be step 1. The school cannot say, "Hey, it's time for prayer," and play the call to prayer. Right. But the second thing is, it's like a 2-pronged little test here. Does not disrupt classroom instruction. How can you not disrupt classroom instruction? Now I don't have the counter. I know the first one happens 5:30 in the morning, so that's not during school time. But I would guess about 3 of the 5, anyhow, would happen during school time. And look, I'm not an expert on the schedule, but I think that's a reasonable guess. Of course, that's going to disrupt school.
Well, of course, there again, it depends. If they're doing one during the lunch hour, they're not in class, maybe that's not disruptive. If they're doing it in between periods, if you have a 10, 15-minute break between classes and they do it between classes, I think there could be some ways they could accommodate. And understand, under the Coach Kennedy prayer case a few years ago, the Supreme Court got rid of the Lemon Test, which, by the way, we were the only legal group that advocated. We filed an amicus brief in that case at the U.S. Supreme Court. We were the only ones that advocated to get rid of the Lemon Test, which was the old constitutional test the Supreme Court had. You had to have a secular purpose. You couldn't have excessive entanglement between government and religion. That test was ridiculous. It was in place for decades. We were the only ones that advocated to get rid of that test, and the Supreme Court did in the Kennedy case. And they went to a test of, well, what are our traditions? How is it actually carried out? And the kinds of issues we're talking about right now, which is a more reasonable test. And understand, the government does have to accommodate religious belief, but do it for everybody in an even-handed, equal way.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Quite clearly, this room is not for everybody. I mean, that's pretty clear, right? It's if you're a Christian and you come in there with your crucifix necklace and you get down and you pray to Christ, I don't think that's a part of the intention of this room based on everything I've read here, David. And so my guess is this will end up being challenged because if you're not putting in a special room for Buddhists and Hindus and Christians and Jews and everybody else, then you're showing, as you put, preferential treatment to people of one group. And that, by extension, appears to be an endorsement of one religion over the rest. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. And that's probably where this case will hinge, is whether or not the school is allowing kids of all faiths. This can't be teacher-led. This can't be something that students are required to do. But if it's open to everybody equally and it's not exclusive to one religious faith, that's a closer call. That might survive scrutiny. But if you, like you say, if this is just a Muslim prayer room and only Muslim kids are allowed in there, that sort of thing, that'll never stand. That'll never hold up. Never hold up. So the problem is for these Minneapolis, this is one school so far, but I'm going to guess we know the demographic breakdown of greater Minneapolis, a lot of Muslims that live there. This is just school one. And you're going to open, one of two things. Either this is going to get struck down and it doesn't happen at all because of all this attention brought to it. And I give credit to Alpha News, great organization out of Minnesota, brought this to our attention. Love that operation. Or you're going to open a can of worms. You're going to have something for the Satanists and the Hindus, and you have something for everybody, right? So then you've got this whole other can of worms because you can't. If you say yes to one, you can say no to none, right? You have to let them all in. They have to have their own special place, their own special place to do whatever it is they do in their religion, right? Yeah, you're exactly right. And again, I think that's going to be the key here. Is it open to all students or is it only open to students of one faith? And it's interesting. You mentioned the 10 Commandments here today. I know you saw in Texas, federal court just ruled the other day that the 10 Commandments can be put up in the public school and they can be posted. So I think that issue is kind of on a collision course to the U.S. Supreme Court as well. So we'll see. I think public schools, the government in general, has a duty to accommodate religious faith and religious belief, whether it's in the workplace, at school, wherever it is, government buildings, but they can't have preferential treatment. And that's where you're going to start seeing a dividing line in these cases. Yeah. Anthony asked, good question, by the way, who paid for it? Was it public money or private money? I think that's a nice question. I don't think it matters if it's in a public school who funds it, but it could be a question, couldn't it? Yeah, but again, obviously it's funded by public dollars, but that is a good question. But I think, again, the key issue is going to be, is it open to all or is it restricted? Right. And that's be the issue. I guess be mindful because these are the encroachments being attempted not just by this group but by others. So be mindful. David, always a good conversation. We'll see we'll follow this case. When it changes, we'll have you back. David Coleman, always a pleasure. Same here, Steve. Thanks for having me on. Bye-bye. There you have it. Anthony, you get a gold star for asking a good question. Attaboy. I don't know who paid for it. Because it hasn't been built yet. It's only in the design phase. I've seen the drawings. I don't actually think that they've begun construction yet. But we'll keep an eye on that for you, and I'll be right back.
Let's jump right back in with a friend of mine. He's become a friend of mine over the last few years because we like doing work with great companies. It's a great company. It's Patriot Mobile. As you know, they power Common Sense Hotline, the Common Sense Hotline, Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Write it down, 877-310-9966. That'll be tomorrow, of course. We take calls from all over the country with our friends from Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless network. Scott Coburn, the Chief Marketing Officer, with me again. Scott, nice to see you.
Always good to see you, Steve. And, just want to thank you guys for being such a good partner of ours through the years. It's been a good run and only looking up from here for sure.
Absolutely. It just gets better all the time. And as people become familiar with Patriot Mobile and realize, look, they're not just a wireless company. Yes, you're very good at that. You offer all three of the major networks for distribution, so therefore people get the best service. But you also put money where your mouth is. You back up causes that people that listen to programs like this one care about, right?
That's right, Steve. That's, you said it best. We are a great cell phone service provider, but our mission has nothing at all to do with cell phones. Our mission has everything to do with defending our God-given rights and freedoms. And we carry out our mission by donating millions of dollars every year back to organizations that are on the front lines fighting for our freedom.
And one of those organizations you were with just last week, the NRA holding annual meetings, the newly reinvented NRA as they move forward into a new phase of what they're doing and getting stronger by the moment. Tell me how important that relationship is for you.
Steve, it's actually crucial for us, because one of our four pillars at Patriot Mobile, our four pillars of giving, is the Second Amendment and defending our Second Amendment right to bear arms. And let's be honest, America needs a strong National Rifle Association. So we see that. We've talked with their new leadership. We believe they are going in the right direction. And all of the legislative stuff they do is really critical to defending our Second Amendment right to bear arms. And you know this, Steve, you won't find another cell phone service provider that does more to defend our Second Amendment rights than Patriot Mobile. There's none. You won't find a single one. So we want to be on the front lines along with organizations like the NRA in defense of our freedoms.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I got a little smile on my face. I'm thinking, I've never thought about the other providers being involved with the Second Amendment. I think they would run like a cockroach in the light. You guys stand up for freedom, which I appreciate. Let's just be honest about that. But you also offer, for Patriot Mobile Business, connectivity solutions designed to power conservative-minded businesses as well. While some folks are trying to get, debank these programs or try to evade, those that protect freedom, you guys stand right there in the gap and deliver. And I just think that's terrific.
Yeah, Steve, we've been a partner for a while, so I'm assuming that your listeners know full well about all of the great service we provide to our consumers. But I want to talk for a minute to the business owners, the conservative business owners out there. You can move your business lines to Patriot Mobile Business and not only get the same great connectivity on all three, the major networks in the United States, but you're also going to get a whole suite of business connectivity solutions that'll help you power your business, from asset tracking, mobile device management, 5G routers, internet failover, hotspots, you name it. We do it all. So we want your business. We would love to talk with you, figure out a good custom data plan that you can use. We're going to not only save you money, but we're going to also provide you fantastic service and 100% U.S.-based customer support. That's not something you're going to find elsewhere.
That's right. All good stuff. How about a little bit of fun stuff before we let you go today? So you do the NRA, you've got business solutions, and you're also sponsoring Jason Aldean's world tour right now, right? I mean, so you guys have some fun along the way as well.
We work hard and we play hard. And we play hard with people like us, people like Jason Aldean and his wife, Brittany, that know what Patriot Mobile stands for, and that's why they choose to partner with us. But we also know what they stand for. They stand for American values and freedoms, faith, family, and freedom, the same things that we cherish here at Patriot Mobile. So of course we're going to be on board celebrating with them. And we want all of their fans to understand why they came to Patriot Mobile, and we want them to come to Patriot Mobile too. Know that every time you make a call or text, you're going to be defending freedom.
And there you have it. Scott Coburn. Man, I just respect what you guys have done for the last 12 years. You continue to grow. You continue to defend freedom. And we appreciate you being a partner in all of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. God bless you guys.
God bless you. Now, listen, you should be a member of Patriot Mobile as well. Switching is easier than ever. You can activate in minutes, keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade if you'd like. Take a stand today. Join me. Join Ivy. Join Jason Aldean. Be part of this deal. Go to patriotmobile.com/Gruber or call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Gruber for a free month of service right now. That's patriotmobile.com/Gruber or 972-PATRIOT. Make the switch today. And don't forget, Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline tomorrow on Free for All Friday. And the better news is Scott says we're going to get Jason Aldean onto the Forgotten America podcast. That would be cool, right? Talk to Jason Aldean. He's on tour with him. If we get him on the podcast, Forgotten America, we'll let you know. But, you shouldn't miss the podcast either way. All right? You should not miss the podcast either way. It's available on YouTube every day. It's a growing event. And we've got so many great things going on. Who's new coming up on Monday, Anthony?
Oh, man.
Heckin' Lively?
I think it's yeah, it is Heckin' Lively.
Yeah. Well, look, we just had is Redfield run yet? He just ran. Dr. Robert Redfield, remarkable conversation. Paul Siegert was on there talking about health insurance and how they're just putting the screws to us from the government level to the insurance companies all across everywhere. And everybody that listens to this podcast seems to enjoy it. So let me do we have a preview?
Not Heckin' Lively.
All right, well, we'll have him soon. We got Paul Siegert?
Yes.
Yeah, let's give him a preview. He'll pull it.
That's a major problem. You have consumers that are just out there without any good information, and they've got this health insurance card that's like an unlimited Amex, and they're just racking up the charges. And it's all good until the next renewal when it goes up another 10 or 15 or 20% and outpaces their wage increases and all. I mean, it's a disastrous situation.
Yeah,
and the data is getting on top of the data is the answer.
This will be the best education you will ever get on what goes on in insurance companies, with healthcare providers, and how they put the thumb screws to you. You need Paul Siegert. Fabulously interesting. Again, that's on YouTube. Steve Gruber, you can become a subscriber free of charge. Free. I mean, just another big gift from us to you. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so when I was born, my mother celebrated. No, that's not what you said. When I was born, about 20% of America smoked. Okay, about 20%. Today, the most recent numbers show about 6% of Americans smoke because, the risks are pretty well known. And I don't, look, if you smoke, I don't care. I used to be a smoker until June 1st, 1999. I think I'm over it. I quit cold turkey that day a long time ago, right? I think I'm past cigarettes. However, if I was really sick, I might go buy a pack of cigarettes. I did like it back then. Anyhow, I digress. What I'm getting at is this story right here. Britain plans a lifelong ban on smoking for young people. They're going to make it illegal, period, going forward. Anyone born after January 1, 2009, no one will ever be allowed to buy cigarettes under the Tobacco and Vapes Bill, which has cleared Parliament. After the bill receives approval from King Charles III, ministers will be given new powers to regulate tobacco, vaping, nicotine products in general, which means these nicotine pouches that have become all the rage. Philip Morris, they figured out a new way to deliver nicotine to the masses. No tobacco, just these flavored pouches that are nicotine only, right? Anyhow, the law would apply to England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. First proposed in 2024, similar legislation passed in the Maldives that banned tobacco for anyone born in 2007 or later. New Zealand enacted a generational ban in 2021. It was later overturned, but there is this movement afoot because smoking-related illnesses in America, for example, this year, around 500,000 people will die from tobacco-related disease. The vast majority of that is from smoking even today. So it's expensive for the healthcare systems, it's expensive for companies and sick time and so forth. So the move is to ban smoking altogether. How do you feel about that? I'm just curious. Do you support that? Do you think it's an encroachment on people's rights? What do you think? Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. I'm curious how you feel about the banning of smoking forever going forward. I mean, politicians make a lot of money off tobacco. We'll see what happens. Another big hour straight ahead.
Understand that
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, let's kick it off. Another big morning fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. You know, who do you want in your foxhole? I want Ivy in my foxhole, to be honest with you. She's very talented. Three big things this hour. Number one, the idea that Iran is doing well financially, as some of the left would have you believe, is dismembered by a pesky little thing called facts. Iran is getting destroyed. Their economy is in shambles. Number two, in Virginia, it took less than a day for a judge to declare the referendum on redistricting unconstitutional. He refused to certify the election that passed by just about 2.5 points. And number three, we have to discuss in detail the fully disgraced Southern Poverty Law Center, a group that labeled traditional Catholics and Moms for Liberty, among dozens of other groups, as hate groups. I've told you for 15 years on this program, the SPLC was a dirty group that slimed people as a matter of course. They didn't care if it was a grift. In fact, we know now that the entire ugly events in places like Charlottesville, Virginia, in 2017, where one woman was killed, protesters chanted many racist comments, were actually paid for by the SPLC. You see, their entire business plan relied on paying leaders of groups like the Ku Klux Klan to create such scenes so they could cash in. And boy, did they cash in. After Charlottesville, their influx of cash increased tens of millions of dollars annually. Tens of millions, which raises a big question. I mean, we know Qatar paying a lot of conservative influencers. AIPAC paying a lot of conservative influencers. We can tell you right here, we take no money from any foreign entity. I wonder how long it'll be until we find out the worst of the worst grifters are actually on the payroll of left-wing organizations to stir the pot. Think about that. Who's getting paid and by whom and how much? Ivy's here, of course, as she always is at this hour. It smells so badly to me, Ivy. And look, I started thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Who's getting paid to go out there and stir things up, right?
Well, another group that was deemed a, essentially terrorist organization and an organization of hate was TPUSA. And I want you to hear our former colleague and friend's bite here. Anthony, play that, please.
Understand that they're literally putting high school chapters of ours on a hate group next to the KKK and next to neo-Nazi groups. And I mean, we can laugh this off. There's an element to this. Remember that there was a shooter that went to the Family Research Council years ago, inspired by the SPLC list. This is them trying to make us basically surrender at Turning Point USA. We're going to do the opposite, and our students are only going to lean in even more. But they can't debate us on our ideas. They cannot have dialogue. They cannot actually go onto the merits of why they are right or why we might be wrong. Instead, they must smear us with the age-old one-liner that you are a racist or that you are a hater, and they're finally realizing the power of Turning Point USA, which is why they put us on this
when you're
list.
effective,
wow.
you're a threat.
So, and then you can come back to us here. But, he was on it then, and it's just...
Well, in fairness, I've been on the SPLC for 15 years. In fact, it goes back before that. I told you I did stories in Ohio back when I was working for NBC News 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And had to deal with the SPLC, and I thought, man, something about this whole deal isn't right.
Yeah.
And then you follow, and they're taking people like Moms for Liberty. Mm-hmm. Oh, they're a hate group, and they're on the map of hate. Matt Walsh, who's out there, well-spoken conservative, a guy who, by the way, is not getting paid by anybody either, from what I can tell, saying, look, he was on the hate map because they had this map. Here's a hate group. Here's a hate group. It was garbage, but I want to play one bite here, so there is no confusion that they're playing the racist organization to create the incidents that they could then scream about and raise money from. Listen to this.
I just want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that...
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that. And so what the investigation found, according to the indictment that was returned today, is that they were paying. So the Southern Poverty Law Center is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism. And over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money they raised from donors to pay to, they called them field, basically to informants, to information, for access, to just pay them for certain to do certain things. And so yes, that's exactly what the indictment charges.
To do certain things. What things?
Well,
That's what I'd
exactly.
like to know.
Well, you look, well, what was this group called? Patriot Front? You know the guys that had the masks on that would march through Washington or march through.
The alt-right, the alt-right
The
groups.
alt-right, blah, blah.
Right.
That was the SPLC.
Unbelievable.
That was all created to create this narrative so then they could scream about white supremacy and white nationalism.
Right.
It was all manufactured.
Exactly. Does January 6th come to mind?
It does.
So I would say, Steve, my question to you is, what do you think is going to occur here? Are we actually going to see some people go to jail for this? Where obviously there's going to be, is it going to be an open court hearing? What are the next steps? Do you know?
Well, there's going to be an investigation that continues here, and they're finally holding people accountable. These are indictments handed down by a grand jury. So this is already putting people in legal jeopardy.
Okay.
So that's important. But the question I've got to ask to everybody now, I mean, do I have that second bite here? I need to play this. You just played Charlie Kirk, who is exactly right. And I rarely, as you know,
and because of the SPLC put these, say, TPUSA or Moms for Liberty, whoever it was, then that radicalized people against these groups.
These people be attacked. So
continue.
As you know, I rarely ever talk about other hosts. In fact, I have an aversion to it. But sometimes it's so egregious, I have to call it out. And because you mentioned Charlie, I want to pull this bite up.
Okay.
Tucker and his brother Buckley Carlson laughing, this is this week, laughing about Charlie Kirk's murder.
What?
An example.
Come on, seriously?
Listen to this.
Favorite line, we had dinner with Russell Brand at home last night. Obviously you were there, and his line that, the thing about lone gunmen is they always seem to assassinate people who challenge institutional power. It's kind of amazing. Your average lone gunman just goes out, who knows why, and kills people who are criticizing the people in charge. Maybe the people in charge should connect with the lone gunman community. Kind of like McDonald's and Coca-Cola got together. It's just like a natural partnership. Have they ever thought of that?
All right, enough. It is so beyond the pale. And so I really call people, but you have to ask, who's getting paid by whom, Ivy? Are leftist organizations funding the bill here?
Well, certainly. I think it's also foreign entities, I would imagine. What's so funny?
The cat giving you a hard time there.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, absolutely. I think, follow the money and then you can very easily see what's going on here. And I'm sure, because of this indictment, facts are going to come out because you're going to have discovery and you're going to see emails. You're going to see the money. You're going to see what the motivation was.
Who's enriching themselves to undermine America?
Right.
Who is enriching? That's the question today. And again, we take no foreign money here. We take great sponsors and we have great partnerships and we work our tails off.
Right.
But we believe in one thing at the end of the day. We believe, two things. We believe in God and we believe in this country.
God and country. Amen, Steve.
Amen. Ivy, I know you'll be back in a bit. Nice to see you. Love you.
I love you.
What do you guys think? Send me an email, stevegruber.com. Who's getting paid? Who's getting enriched? And to what end? Think about it. stevegruber.com. I'll be right back. Woke and Weaponized, that's right. Robert Bortons is the author of Woke and Weaponized, How Karl Marx Won the Battle for American Education. And the question is, how can we get it back? CEO of Classical Conversations, great organization. They support classical Christian homeschoolers in all 50 states and in 30 foreign countries. Robert, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, Steve. And yeah, this Southern Poverty Law Center stuff isn't anything new. The left's been doing this from the 50s, trying to, as the Ford Foundation CEO said, successfully merge the United States with the USSR. And so follow the money. That's what my dad said growing up, and it's true today, just as it was in the 1950s and 60s.
You know, the Southern Poverty Law Center at one time was probably a credible organization. You go back 50 years, and they were targeting legitimate hate groups, right? Groups like the Klan or whomever else. But now you're the threat, Robert. You're the guy. If they were still around, which they won't be, they're going up in flames, you would be on the hate map, Robert. That's what's so disgusting about this. I would be on the hate map. For what? For believing in my country, for going to church on Sunday, for loving my family. I mean, that's what's wrong with these far-left radical groups. Everything that America was based on, God, family, country, that's hate to them. And that to me is a mental illness, right or wrong.
Oh, yeah, it is. Absolutely. We actually trace this back to 1826, a guy named Robert Owen, a Welsh industrialist, and he believed that we needed to end religion, private property, and family in the United States because he called that the Trinity of Evil. And that's what we talk about in our book, Woke and Weaponized. Once you know the history of the education system in the U.S. and how the left and the radical left took it over, you're not surprised when you see these things in the news anymore. You're just sad.
Yeah. So, all right, we've laid out the problem. The problem is that our educational institutions, from kindergarten, probably even pre-K now, we didn't have that when I was a kid, but kindergarten through higher education at the colleges and universities have been infiltrated by these Marxists, by people that have been led to believe falsely that somehow America is the enemy, that somehow people like Chairman Mao or Stalin were the good folks. I mean, Mao killed 100 million of his own people. Stalin was kind of a second place guy. He only killed about 50 million of his own people. These are the people they'd like you to emulate, Robert. These are the people we should recognize and respect. I mean, Hassan Piker is out there, the guy who's on stage with all sorts of Democrats all over this country right now, an anti-America, anti-Semite, bigot, preaching that Chairman Mao is one of the greatest people in the world history. He was the greatest mass killer in world history, and yet people, they eat this stuff up. I just, like, can anybody do their own research and say, hey, maybe I don't want to be with a guy that killed 100 million of his own Chinese citizens? Just a thought, right?
Yeah, no, it's envy is their creed and death is their plea. I mean, they have killed so many people over the last 100 years. It's the most destructive worldview there is, and it's infiltrated our education system to the point where we're electing Mandami in New York City, a Democrat socialist, which is, someone who said, throw off the rugged chains of individualism for the warmth of collectivism. Well, that warmth of collectivism, as you've aptly pointed out, has killed hundreds of millions of people just in the last 150 years. And so rugged individualism is what built this country, and that's what's going to save it if we are going to save our republic.
Well, you are, and I'm going to go ahead and give you some kudos here. You are one of the people that are actually doing something about it. Before COVID, it's estimated there were about 3 million homeschoolers in America, give or take. That number is now almost 10 million. There is a movement to get the kids out of public schools, and I realize that's still a small fraction of the kids being educated, but it's a good place. It's a foothold. We've got our foot in the door to educate people about the truth about America, the truth about Western civilization, the truth about who the real enemies of humanity are. And you're doing that every day, aren't you?
Yeah, every single day we're helping hundreds of thousands of families homeschool through high school or get started. Because ultimately our responsibility is to educate our children. The state's never going to do that. And we see that in the numbers, right? Only 34% of kids can read at grade level, but 40% are bullied in school. So your kid has a better chance of being bullied than learning how to read by these Marxist educators that have infiltrated our education system. And so it takes a grassroots level, and that's where we are. We're helping families one at a time save their own families so that they can save their communities and save their cities and save their country. And that's how we do it. That's how every great movement has done it, is starting with the individual, with the responsibility that they have and that they can do.
Boy, I'm going to say something unpopular now. I think a little bit of bullying is all right. I think it toughens people up. You know, every time that somebody says something that's unfriendly to somebody else, it's not bullying. It's called growing up. It's learning that the world is not a pleasant place. It's learning that the world can be a rough and tumble place. And if you're not prepared for that, you're going to get eaten up. You're going to get eaten up out there if you're just soft and unaware of what the world can really treat you like. Now, before we get too far here, Classical Conversations, it's the organization that you run. We got about a minute here. Tell the folks what it is and how it's a resource in case anybody watching want their kids or grandkids to have a better opportunity to actually get educated. Go ahead.
Yeah, classicalconversations.com. Put your zip code in. We'll get you talking to a real human being about how you can get started homeschooling today. But we're a K through 12 education system. We have communities that meet once a week, and we train parents. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I can't do this or can't do that. We're going to be with you right alongside your journey.
Robert Bortons, author of Woke and Weaponized, How Karl Marx Won the Battle for American Education. He may have won the battle, but the war is not over, Robert. And for people like you, you're a foot soldier out there, and we appreciate everything you do, and thank you for stopping in today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Look, teach the children well. They knew if they could educate the children, they could take America without firing a shot. Well, we're firing back here on this program, on Daybreak, every single day, telling you the truth, laying out the facts, and letting you decide, all right? It's called Classical Conversations. If you have kids or grandkids, look that up. We can do better every day. I'll be back. All right, you know, I monitor these chat sessions on YouTube and Getter. I jump in there every day to just see what the temperature is of folks out there like you, right? And Francis just wrote here in Getter, Christians, they are too soft and do not educate each other. Boy, is that true. So while I'm on it, being a Christian does not mean being a doormat. Yes, it means love your neighbor. Yes, it means turn the other cheek. Yes, it means those things, but it doesn't mean get walked on. You can stand up and say, this is what I believe, and this is why I believe it. Go through joy. Go through your day with joy and try to do things, you know, with a smile on your face to the best of your ability. I get all that, and I try my best. Do I fall short? Yeah, we all do. But being a doormat is not part of my DNA. Not now, and not ever, to be honest with you. I'm never going to be a doormat, all right? So that's good advice. So, Francis, thank you for that comment. I agree with you. Don't be shy. And that doesn't mean you have to stand on the Bible and proselytize and be a Bible beater, but it does mean you have to stand up for your faith and say, this is who I am, and I'm proud of it. And in America, it's okay that I do that. It's okay that I do that because I have the First Amendment right. Look, my rights do not come from you. My rights come from God. And I'm more than happy to say that every single day. Do you owe back taxes? There's somebody who might come after you if you could be a doormat to the IRS. Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns filed every year but still keep owing? Retired and got hit with a surprise tax bill? Are you a business owner with a tax bill you just can't pay? Did you take early money from your 401k and now you're being penalized? However your tax issue started, the result, too often it's the same. Your balance is not going down, penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS can garnish wages, levy bank accounts, take your stuff, including your retirement. They have over 15 years in business, and they're doing it nationwide. What do you need to do? Call 800-905-8000. 905-8000. 800-905-8000, or go to tnusa.com/RAV. tnusa.com/RAV. I'll take a break and be right back. All right, welcome back to it. As I mentioned earlier in the program, the election, or the vote, I should say, not really an election, it was an amendment, if you will, in Virginia. And they voted by about 2.5 points to bring in new congressional districts, which, if they go as Democrats would hope, would take it from being a 6-5 Democrat advantage in Congress from Virginia to a 10-1 advantage. But it took less than a day for a judge to weigh in and say, no, that's not constitutional. Jack Hurley, the judge, said he's not going to certify the election. See, the election from Tuesday remains uncertified today because he says you basically violated every rule to get here. And what you're supposed to do, there's a process in Virginia, like there are in pretty much every other state, on how you get ballot initiatives in front of the voters. And he said you didn't do any of it right. None of it. Allie Triolo is the RNC Director of Election Integrity joining me now. Allie, nice to have you here.
Hey, Steve. Nice to have you. Good morning.
Nice to see you. Look, this is something that, by the way, the most unpopular governor in America, that would be Abigail Spanberger, the most unpopular governor in Virginia history. She's been there a whopping 90 days. Boy, has she done everything right to make herself the most hated person in Virginia. But they were able to push through. They got Barack Obama out there. They got tens of millions of dollars. They pushed this deal through. But the judge said, look, it's not constitutional. And he said that, by the way, prior to the election. The state Supreme Court of Virginia said, well, we're going to let them vote before we weigh in on this because we don't really have anything to decide until there's been a vote in this matter. 2.5-point win, which, by the way, the Republicans outperformed their performance last year in 2025 and outperformed their performance in 2024. So while the Democrats are making this victory lap, they might want to look at the numbers and say, wait a second, this wasn't some overwhelming victory. It was a close win, and it might not be a win at all. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I have been speaking to reporters all day yesterday and with you this morning. This should actually be a 5-alarm fire for Democrats. The fact that they poured tens of millions of dollars into this, that they trotted out Barack Obama and could barely squeak out a win of just 3%. I mean, this is looking great for Republicans. And if this is what we have going into the midterm election, we feel very confident.
Yeah, so 5-alarm fires you. But I do have a question, and I have a criticism here, Allie, because the Republicans did not show up with the amount of money that they could have used. They had no ground game in Virginia, none. I mean, just call it for what it is.
Well, that isn't true. That isn't true at all. You know, I just want to say we knew this had to be a strategic investment. We want to remind people Virginia is a purple state. This isn't like this is something we're doing in Texas or Florida that is more Republican. So we knew that we had to make this an issue fight as opposed to a partisan Democrat versus Republican campaign. There was about $40 million poured into this referendum, fighting this referendum from the Republican apparatus, not just the RNC, but also other entities to try to combat this campaign. We recruited over 1,500 poll workers. We had staff on the ground. We had a war room. We worked in partnership with the Virginia Republican Party. However, we did this quietly because we knew the second we nationalized this, the second we made this a Republican issue, that could decrease our chances. And I think it proves with only this 2.5% to 3% margin loss that our strategy worked.
Now, Florida is next up. Ron DeSantis, the governor, is going to call a special session here. It's coming up in the next few days to redistrict Florida. And Hakeem Jeffries is out there telling the governor, don't do it. F around and find out. We're going to show you, Florida. Well, Mr. Jeffries, I don't think you'll come out on the top of that. But here's the real thing that I'm looking at, as all Republicans are, as all Americans who care about election integrity are, and this is the case that will be handed down by the Supreme Court, the Louisiana case on the Voting Rights Act. If it gets struck down, which I believe it will, 6-3, it might very well set aside what happened in Virginia. It might very well set aside what happened in California as well. Texas is safe because they didn't use racial gerrymandering, but it appears that Virginia and California did. What do you make of that? Because that could be a pivotal point in American history.
Well, we have a couple pivotal cases that will impact the election in the Supreme Court, obviously what you're talking about, as well as a case that we are directly fighting, Watson versus RNC. This would strengthen the counting of mail-in ballots and stop counting mail-in ballots after Election Day. This will be key for the midterms. We have states that count ballots 2-3 weeks after election day, and that creates chaos, confusion, opportunities for fraud. We just had oral arguments. So between the case you're talking about, Steve, Watson versus RNC, we are fighting tooth and nail, the Republicans, to protect our elections. No matter which political party you're a part of in this nation, you deserve fair elections, and you also deserve a congressional district that accurately represents your community. I want to point out one of the districts in Virginia. It is shaped like a lobster to where someone drew in their home at the end of the lobster tail just so that they could run again for Congress. This is not representation. I'm born and raised in California. Don't count it against me. But I do want to say it is absolutely unjust that we have rural communities of farmers and blue collar workers mixed in with Bay Area elites. How on earth is that a fair district that represents the people that call that area home when it's splicing up communities right and left that don't share the same values? This has gotten out of control by the left, and Republicans are trying to stop it and restore law and order to our elections and, quite frankly, to our nation.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that second case at the Supreme Court because it's important. It's not that they're counting ballots after Election Day. It's that they are accepting ballots that show up after Election Day as far out as 20, one state, I don't remember which one, but 20 days later, they'll still take a ballot. I mean, the people in Chicago, the Daily Machine would blush at that kind of, aggressive behavior, but that's what's happening. That is key. If the Louisiana case goes right, it could swing 12 to 14 seats to the Republicans. Now, a lot of those seats won't swing until the 28 election, but they'll swing. And then you have the census, which could swing another 12 or 14 seats. You're looking at 25 to 30 new seats for the Republicans by 2030 or 2031. But the question is, if we get on the wrong end of the midterm elections, can we survive 5 years? Last word to you.
Well, absolutely. We would hate to be under Democrat control, but I do not think we should give up hope. I think we should see this narrow squeak out, that 3% that Democrats saw yesterday, as a total win for the Republican Party. We should know that President Trump and Republicans have delivered on their promises, putting more money in Americans' pockets with the largest tax cut in American history, cutting down illegal and crossings at our border to absolutely zero, combating terrorism, lowering prices, delivering for the American people. What Republicans campaigned on, we delivered. And the only thing Democrats have going for them is shutting down the government, not paying our law enforcement officers, and continuing to hate President Trump with no policies to back up their agenda. Republicans are the party that is winning, will continue to win. And that is my last word, Steve.
And one more thing, you forgot the Democrats like Chris Murphy openly rooting for Iran to win over the U.S. military in the Middle East, a disgusting place to be. But I'll leave it there, Allie. I'll let people make of that what they will. But it's repugnant to me. Thank you for being here. Always nice to see you.
Thank you for having me. Have a great morning.
There you have it. Look, these cases in front of the Supreme Court are pivotal. Pivotal. Louisiana is right. And not counting ballots that arrive after Election Day. I mean, you can just say that, well, we need 1,000, we need 10,000, and then they just create them and ship them in. Yes. Election fraud is real. I'll be right back. All right, we talk about this every day now, but because it's front and center every day. That's AI, right? AI is out there every day. It impacts, well, we use it every day. If you drive a car and you got your mapping program, if you're getting on your TV and it's giving you suggestions for what you should watch, your phone's telling you, oh, look, you talked about a store and some pants, and all of a sudden the pants are on your phone. We're being monitored every day. And AI can be great. It can detect illness, but it can also be used to spy on you, especially when those spies are nefarious. Arnie Bellini is the chairman of ConnectServe, a pioneering IT software company, and for his forward-thinking investments in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and environmental conservation, AI dominance. We need a lot more investment right now, he says. Welcome to the program, Arnie.
Thank you.
All right, so, I think our biggest competitor is China, but everybody's on board doing this. Small countries, big countries, everybody's trying to figure out how to get a hand up in this deal. Let's start with this. How are we doing here in the United States?
If I had to give it a grade, I would give us a C, maybe a C+. We've got a lot of work to do. You know, AI has made it so easy for anyone to become a master hacker. It used to take, you know, a team of very knowledgeable hackers to pull off what is able to be done today with artificial intelligence. And so that's really the compelling reason. And it's not just hackers. You know, a hacker's just not a teenage kid in his basement trying to break in for fun. This is now nation state activity. China's very good at it. They've gotten very good at it. They are investing a lot of money and hiring a lot of talent in China to hack into nation states, specifically the United States. So this is a serious game. We have to change our strategy towards this.
Yeah, you know, we used to laugh about this, Arnie, and that would be a Nigerian prince just told me I've inherited $1 billion, right? These are the old emails from, 15 years ago. But today, it's so sophisticated. People can show up and they can know enough about you, where you live, where you work, what you like, because the information's out there. Because on social media and elsewhere, people are all too willing to tell everything about their life. And so that becomes a template for people to target people. I just read some articles this week. The biggest target, of course, elderly people, because they're fooled by this stuff easier, it seems, than young people are more savvy, all right? They were raised with the smartphones and so forth, and they can smell a rat pretty easy and go, well, that's AI, that's nonsense. But elderly people are targeted by these scams, and people can get into their bank accounts, into everything. To me, it's pretty frightening.
Well, it's you say the elderly, it's like you and I would not be able to distinguish a new AI fake, right? So the AI fake cleans it up. It's not the prince from Nigeria anymore, and it's not misspellings, and it's not incorrect grammar. It's absolutely perfect, and it can take the tone of someone that you know. So, there's just a million ways that AI can now fake us out so much better. So, and the scariest thing is, in our company, Connect Secure, we're creating penetration testing software. We're using AI to scan people's systems, determine where there are openings, leapfrog in where there's vulnerabilities, and then work our way to where the good data is inside of a company. And then saying, in our case, because we're white hat hackers, we're saying, hey, look at what we found. If we were a hacker, a real hacker, you would have been exploited. So it's with AI, you can do this at scale, and you don't even have to be very talented. So it's not just the elderly that are going to be fooled now. It's everyone that's going to be fooled now.
Yeah. I read a quote a number of years ago now from an author, Bruce Catton. He was a Pulitzer Prize-winning author on the Civil War. And in one of his books that I read, he made a comment about inventions. When man invents something, they take it to the final possible degree of what can be done with it before they quit. I mean, you can see that with the automobile. We create roads and parking lots and drive-thrus and everything. Same thing with AI. It's going to be taken, and the thing about AI is we're just getting started. We don't know where this can lead. We don't know if it's going to be autonomous robots cleaning my house, or people telling me, oh, you've had too much gasoline this week, Mr. Gruber, you're cut off because you're impacting the environment, or people coming in trying to steal my bank account. AI can be a wonderful tool. Like I said, it can detect cancer, right? But it can also be a tool to defraud people, to undermine the narrative, to create false narratives and false flags, all of these things. That's why it can be wonderful and destructive all at the same time, can it?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Steve. It's exactly that, right? I mean, we've cracked the human genome, we have AI, and we now are putting on online quantum computing. So the benefit to humanity is enormous. I mean, we probably can figure out every disease within the next 10 years, right? You want to stay alive for the next 10 years because you might get another extra 20 bonus years out of it if you do. So there's a real positive side. But with any technology, there's the upside and then there's the downside. And the downside is those who want to do harm have the same power and the same technology. So this is where it's going to get very, very, very interesting very quickly, right? And as a nation state, I worry about people getting hacked, individual people, but I'm much more concerned about the United States of America protecting its digital borders, right? We've finally secured our physical borders.
Sure.
We need to get busy securing our digital borders at this point in time.
Look, I get text messages pretty much every day. Hey, nice to see you the other day. Can you give me a call? I'm like, I don't know that number. Or I get solicitations. I don't know who that is. But it's easy to get roped in. And once you open that portal, man, it can become dangerous. Real quickly, 30 seconds. Give me a little bit of advice how to protect ourselves.
Well, be completely cautious. Don't be gullible. Don't click on anything. If you don't know exactly who or what is sending you a link, don't click on the link, because that's how they're going to get in, is clicking on a link. So, to the general public, be heads up. It's like, you have to now start thinking about a world where you cannot communicate with entities or people that you do not know.
Correct.
That you have to establish trust with them first offline before you do online. So
Yeah.
I'd say that would be one good advice.
Arnie Bellini, good talking to you today. Be careful. Great tool, but a tool that can be used for bad things as well. So just be cautious out there. Arnie, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Nice to see you here on Daybreak on a Thursday. I've got a sports update with Brock after this. All right, let's check in on sports with my good friend Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. There were just 2 NBA playoff games last night, both game 2s in the first round. Detroit evened up their series at 1 game apiece with the Orlando Magic with a 98-83 victory in Detroit. Then Oklahoma City went up 2-0 on the Phoenix Suns with a 120-107 win in Oklahoma City. There are 3 game 3s in round 1 tonight. In the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, there were 3 games in round 1 last night. Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh 5-2 in game 3 to go up 3-0 in the series. Dallas won at Minnesota in double overtime 4-3 in game 3. The Stars lead the series 2-1. And Anaheim won at Edmonton 6-4 in game 2. Series all even at 1 game apiece. 3 more games tonight in the NHL. A full schedule in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included Tampa Bay, Detroit, and the LA Angels. National League winners included Miami, Pittsburgh, and Colorado. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, thank you for that, as always. All right, so after the Dylan Mulvaney debacle, well, has that been 2 years now? 3? What's it been? Since Bud Light put a dude in a bathtub and gave him some beer, right? Complete disaster. I mean, talking about not knowing your audience, not knowing who your consumer is, what a complete disaster. Well, Anheuser-Busch now says it's going to invest $600 million over 2 years, expanding brewery capacity, worker training, veteran hiring, and more domestic manufacturing. And remember, this is not an American-owned company anymore. Sad but true. But here's what the company says from CEO Brendan Whitworth. The $600 million investment is about advancing American manufacturing, strengthening our supply chain, and creating lasting careers for a brighter future for U.S. workers. I'm not a beer drinker, so it's not really much concern to me, but I'm curious. What do you think? Can Budweiser finally claw its way back to where they were? Bud Light was the best-selling beer in America until that incredibly stupid choice to put a dude in the bathtub. I mean, it's called for what it is. They blew it. Can they claw their way back? Send me an email, stevegruber.com, stevegruber.com. Always good seeing you, my friends. Glad you were here today. Glad I was here today. For those of you on Real America's Voice, Sunrise is next. For those of you on MTN Networks and all the rest, the third hour of the program straight ahead.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
And welcome to it as we kick off another brand new hour here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. We do it every day. Appreciate your support of the program over almost 15 years now. 15 years. I don't feel a day older than 106. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, Meijer has a transgender restroom policy sparking debate. The company is allowing transgender employees to use the women's bathroom. They say, well, that's the federal rule, and it's not, of course. Number two, the SPLC facing blowback from the hate map after the DOJ indictments. And number three, last night, into the wee hours, the Senate Republicans didn't need the Democrats at all. Happened early this morning, adopting a blueprint for the budget that should fund DHS, ICE, CBP, and so many more. Two Republicans, or alleged Republicans, and here's the one I don't understand. Rand Paul. You know, sometimes he's spot on and sometimes he's in left field. Lisa Murkowski from Alaska is usually in left field. It's where she occupies time and space. Those are the two Republicans that did not support the measure, but they only need 50 votes. So they're pushing this through. They're going to get things paid for. They're getting things paid for, and they're going to get it done. Now, having said that, I need to play you a couple of things here that are just so outrageous on this debate that it's unbelievable. So, Democrat Senator Patty Murray of the state of Washington, yesterday, as all of this is going on, she makes a comment that she's not heard of a single Democrat saying defund ICE. Hasn't heard of a single one. I mean, really? Listen to this.
I've not heard one Democrat say defund ICE. Yeah. What I have heard every single Democrat repeatedly say, when you fund ICE agents, then make sure they have training, make sure they have warrants, make sure they act like law enforcers, and have the ability to have the trust of the American people. That's what we're asking for.
Not heard a single Democrat call for defunding ICE. I could do 100 sound bites in a row of Democrats at all levels of government calling to defund ICE. But I have one just quick example. Ed Markey, Senator, Massachusetts. You tell me, what does he say right here?
So we're still going to have a big battle over ICE. I believe ICE should be defunded.
What?
I don't think that ICE is any longer capable of existing because it is so corrupt at its core. But we still have to have that debate.
ICE has to be defunded. Well, there's one of Senator Murray's colleagues right there saying defund ICE. You know why? Because that is the Democrat talking point. But it brings me back to the top of the program. They will say and do anything. They don't care. There is no moral compass left for a political party that believes you can butcher children and turn boys into girls and girls into boys. There is no moral compass left for a group of people who says, leave the borders wide open. It's good for America. There is no moral compass left when Democrats like Abigail Spanberger get elected to be the governor in the state of Virginia saying, oh, we're here for affordability, and then immediately propose 50 new tax hikes on the people of Virginia. Dog walking tax, dog grooming tax, house repair tax, car repair tax. The list just goes on. Let me see. Tanning beds, tax that. And it's mind-boggling. They will say anything because they have no moral compass. None. And they don't care. They want to push their radical agenda, and yes, it is a radical agenda. The idea, and here's another idea, get rid of all fossil fuels. We need to get rid of oil, gas, and coal. Brilliant idea. Maybe we can ride around on bicycles and have that little thing that charges the headlight like we had when we were kids, a little generator that pushes against your rear wheel so you can have a headlight on your bicycle. Maybe we can have candles again. Of course, candles would be illegal because they create smoke, and smoke creates particulate, which creates air quality problems. No candles. I wrote an article, 15 years ago now. And I said, tongue-in-cheek, sort of, that at some point Democrats would ban campfires. They'd make them illegal because campfires make smoke. Smoke creates particulate. Smoke shouldn't be inhaled in your lungs. So the fun police are out there every single day. No s'mores for you, kids. You can't have a campfire. You will not melt chocolate. It is a remarkable group of individuals that are at odds with the American people. They're at odds with their own party. I mean, you know that by looking at how they talk about the Save America Act. Very simple plan. You present ID to vote. I've done it my whole life. You have to present your driver's license. Where do you live? Which precinct are you in? All right? Every country in the world has people provide government-issued photo ID. You have to prove who you are. Mass mail-in ballots were a game, rigged in part by the Chinese Communist Party. We know that now, beyond the shadow of a doubt, because of the great reporting of my friend John Solomon and others. They've got the receipts. It doesn't matter. Counting ballots that arrive after Election Day, they're fighting to keep that in place. Why would you want to have ballots continue to come in for a week, 2 weeks, 20 days? One state allows 20 days for the ballots to come in after Election Day. I'm telling you, Mayor Daley in Chicago would have thought that was brilliant. You just sit there on Election Day, okay, we're 1,000 votes behind. Give me 5,000 so it's not close. These folks are at odds with their own voters. 80% of Americans, including 72% of Democrats, support the Save America Act. You must present voter ID. You must prove that you're an American citizen. You don't have to re-register. If you're already there, you're good. What that prevents is all of these illegals that flooded into the country during Joe Biden's term. Open borders good for America. Yeah, okay, Joey. Take your medicine and change your diaper. The truth of the matter is these people are at odds with their own voters. And I believe it's going to cost them at some point, and cost them big. We'll find out. Don't know yet, but we will find out. Because at some point, people are just going to reject all of this garbage. They have to. Anyhow, it looks like reconciliation is going through. The problem with the Republicans today is that the reconciliation bill pushed through early this morning by John Thune and company does not include the Save America Act. That is inexcusable. The Save America Act has to be a cornerstone, a pillar of politics in 2026. Anything less than the Save America Act is unacceptable. Unacceptable. We have to have it. We have to have it. All right. Let's see here. Coming up, Congressman Jack Bergman is going to join me here this hour. You'll want to catch his update on everything going on in Washington, D.C., including the Save America Act and the war in Iran and everything else. We'll have that coming up and so much more. So good to see you this morning on Daybreak. I'm Steve Gruber. Ivy will be back as well, I think. Yeah, she'll be here. And that's worth the price of admission right there. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the program. No, it's been a few weeks since gold and silver were just on fire, up and down and volatile. Well, that seems to have cooled off quite a bit, but man, it was barely able to, get a breath there for a bit. And here's where we are now. Gold is at 4,800, just over. Silver's at about $80. And joining me is Tom Colson from Liberty Coin Service. Tom, nice to see you today.
Good morning, Steve. Good to see you.
Yeah, it was whiplash there for a while. Silver went all the way to 120, and then came all the way back down in a major correction. Then it kind of bounced around there. Gold, same thing. Where are we today? What's going on?
Well, we're about $80. We had a nice, strong week last week where silver ran up from the low to mid 70s up to that low 80 number. We sold off a little bit from there. Gold also was fairly strong last week. Haven't been super busy in terms of selling a lot of stuff. Mostly I've been buying over the counter. So people have been selling at this point. I still think it's a great opportunity right now in this lull to buy metals, because I think in the long run, if you're looking 5, 10, 20 years down the line, gold is silver are going to be great things to have just to protect your wealth.
Yeah.
If you need any further confirmation of that, I would suggest going to our website, reading our current newsletter for this month, Liberty's Outlook. Pat Heller, who writes our newsletter, did an excellent job of outlining reasons why you should be buying metals now, and I think it's a great read.
And what's the website? Tell the folks.
It's www.libertycoinservice.com, and then just click on the spot that says current newsletter.
All right, libertycoinservice.com. Meanwhile, if you have coins or collectibles and you think maybe it's worth something and you don't know, you can email it to us here, coins@stevegruber.com, coins@stevegruber.com. And we've got some crazy things to look at here today, Tom, as we often do. Let's start with this first coin. Fascinating to me when you go through this, and it doesn't matter if it's just coins. Anything that could be baseball cards or collectibles of any sort, if it's out there in the collectible world, if Tom hasn't seen it, he knows somebody who has, so keep that in mind. Send us a picture. This comes to us from Steve in Tennessee. What am I looking at here?
So that's a British halfpenny. It's the type that they made, I think, in 1806. And it appears to be counterstamped, that THW 1825. Unfortunately, I don't know the significance of the counterstamp, but this is not unusual. You see coins like that with different counterstamps. Could have been a private person that just put their initials in there and the date. It could be an allusion to some merchant that used it in commerce and made it maybe like a calling card for his business. But I don't know beyond that what it is exactly. But kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. To me, it looks like it's almost warped in the middle there. So this is a fairly common coin. Then this one's been around. It's been in a lot of people's pockets, it looks like to me, Tom.
Yep. Yeah, and those we do encounter pretty frequently. Typically in that condition, they might retail for 50 cents or $1.
That's it. 50 cents or $1, half cent. All right, so here's one of the more interesting coins that I always find it interesting when one of these pops up. This comes to us from Jane in Mississippi, an American 2-cent piece. I always find these fascinating. This is from the Civil War, 1864. And this one looks to be, look, I'm no expert, looks like it's in reasonable condition.
Yep, it's got a lot of details. The color indicates that it's been corroded to some degree, so it's probably been buried or in some kind of corrosive environment for some period. But overall, it didn't circulate very long, you could see from the lack of wear. This is the first coin that had the motto, "In God We Trust," on it. And you can tell by the elongated U there that this is the large motto variety, which is the more common of the two varieties for the 1864 date. In terms of value there, this coin, probably $15 to $30 on the retail end.
Sure,
but yeah, they're a fascinating coin in terms of a 2-cent piece. A lot of people don't realize that we made those.
2s and 3s, yeah. Well, and it hasn't been around much because the shield there with those little fine lines, one of the first things to get worn off, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's see. Now let's go. And this is what's fascinating about collectibles is you never know who had one of these in their pocket. Abraham Lincoln could have had that one in his pocket. Who knows? Dave from Washington sent this in. This looks, and this is because you're educating me something. This looks like a Roman coin to me, but I could be completely lost, Tom. What is it?
Yep, you're correct. This is a silver denarius. It's issued by Marcus Aurelius, who is emperor from 161 to 180 AD. This one is issued earlier in his reign, as you can tell by his portrait. It's got his younger face on there. The later denarii have him with a longer beard and more aged face. Reverse shows the goddess Equitus on the back. We can see with the balanced scales there. So a precursor to our justice system, or
Justice is blind, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Marcus Aurelius, over the last 5 or 6 years, has been an extremely popular emperor. These coins have just skyrocketed in value compared to where they used to be. 10 years ago, you'd buy a coin like that for $75. Now this is probably $400 or $500 retail.
Really?
Just
become
there's
popular.
been a lot of interest in collecting coins of the Roman Empire.
Interesting. Fascinating. So $600-700. Well done, Dave. There's a night on the town for you, a big night. And from Karen, we've got a Liberty dime from 1916, right?
Yep, this is the Mercury dime, well worn, 1916. And in most instances, this is just a common coin that's worth its silver value of maybe $5, but this one has the D mint mark on it. Even in this well-worn condition, it's the key date. And this is a coin that probably retails for $800 to $900.
Even in that condition?
Yep. Yeah, even in that condition, there's just, it's the key date of the series and highly sought after. But it appears to be a genuine 1916 D dime looking from this.
There you go. Karen in New Hampshire, you are the big winner today for your dime, $800. Well done. All right, Tom, greatly appreciate it. You can find out more at libertycoinservice.com, and you can send along your submissions to coins@stevegruber.com. Tom Colson, always fun. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
There you have a little walk down memory lane, and we'll be back on Daybreak. All right, back to it now. Did you see me pop up like that? It's like a little thing, Jack in the Box. I see these stories every day now, and I find them fascinating. I don't know a lot about them, but these true crime podcasts are like one of the hottest things, right, Anthony? True crime. Yes, people listen. What's that? I lost you, Anthony. Where'd you go? Anyhow. What I was getting at was every day I see it just seems like every day I see one of these stories. Killer admits to decades-old cold case slaying after investigators lean on new forensic evidence. You know, this DNA stuff coming back. This guy is 73 years old, Mark Sanfrantello, right? He killed his girlfriend in 1983. 1983. And they finally caught up with him. 43 years later, you're not going to get away with anything. You know, Minority Report stuff here. Cases like this remind us why we don't give up. It doesn't matter how many years have passed. If someone took a life, we're going to keep working until we can hold them accountable. The murder victim, Teresa Peroni, was 27 years old, last seen walking in the woods with her boyfriend, Sanfrantello. after they attended a house party. Reported missing shortly after. They concluded her disappearance was suspicious. Her skull was found in 1997. No additional remains ever discovered. They reopened the case in 2024, re-interviewed witnesses, collected new DNA evidence, and applied modern forensic technology to build a case against him. 1 year later, July 2025, Sanfratello taken into custody in Chico, California, indicted on first-degree manslaughter charges after being extradited to Oregon. He's going to spend 10 years in prison. Remarkable what science can do. They don't always get it right, though. Don't kid yourself. They don't always get it right. Sometimes they make mistakes and say, well, I mean, DNA evidence, after all, they were dating at the time, but they've got more here. And he pled guilty. He admitted to the killing. All that guilt for decades, that has to eat somebody up. Ruin your life, wouldn't it? I mean, if you have a conscience. Anyhow, every day we see these things. I'll have more after this. All right, well, if you missed it earlier, it seems that Senate Republicans may have found a pathway forward to fund DHS. Happened in the early hours this morning. They say they only need 50 votes. 2 Republicans voted against the idea, Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski. No surprise there, really. But it looks like we might be on the path to getting DHS funded. And look, we're at war in Iran. Call it whatever you want. We're in a battle in Iran, and now is not the time to have parts of government, crucial parts of the government, shut down. Congressman Jack Bergman is a retired United States Marine Corps Lieutenant General, and he serves as Michigan's congressman for the 1st Congressional District, where I have the Northern Compound. Congressman, nice to see you.
Hey, Steve, always great to be with you.
It's been a while, but let's start with this DHS. Are we going to get this done? That's the real question. Do the Republicans have a way to do this through reconciliation in the United States Senate so that we can finally put this behind us? It's been, 50 days? I've lost track, honestly. But can we get it done?
Yeah, I think the answer is, as you just said earlier, we heard a rumor that there's been a deal finally cut. So, it's been a very simple strategy by the Democrats, basically hold the American people hostage and in an attempt to defund ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. That's no way to do your legislative business. First of all, I think it's morally wrong, but the point is they could do it, so they did. We've got the opportunity and the requirement to keep all of our citizens safe and secure, which goes first to what President Trump said he'd do when he was running for re-election, which is secure the border. And that security is not just close. A closed border is not necessarily a secure border. A secure border is one where we allow people to come and go legally, do the processes that we're supposed to be doing through Customs and Border Patrol especially, and get good people here legally, but also get rid of the bad actors.
Yeah.
And again, the Democrats have used this, held the American people hostage for the last few months, using this to what end game, I'm not sure. Their end game is very simple: regain power and control here in D.C. in the November 2026 election.
Regardless of the collateral damage, get power, get control. It doesn't matter who gets hurt along the way. That's pretty obvious. One of the big disappointments I hear, and I wonder if you have the same one, is in Senator John Thune not being aggressive as some would like him to be when it comes to the Save America Act. Can we attach the Save America Act to reconciliation? Look, 75% of Democrats support it, 85% of Republicans, 80% of Americans. This is an easy process. People want voter ID, and they only want American citizens voting, at least in federal elections, right? How hard can this be, Congressman?
Well, again, it's another one that should be classified in the no-brainer
Yeah.
category. Because we want, number one, we want everybody who's eligible to vote. But we also, as part of knowing who's in our country, you should be able to identify yourself. So when you put the two together, it's about voting legally, but again, it's about safety and security of making sure that we know who's in our country. We're working on the reconciliation. What are we on? 2.0, potentially going to 3.0. But we have that lever until basically 9 months from now. And then that could change depending on the outcome of November elections.
Sure, absolutely. All right, I want you to put your military cap on for a moment here. I mean, once a Marine, always a Marine. I've heard that somewhere. I believe that to be true in your case as well. I've known you for a lot of years now. With what's going on in Iran, where I stand is maybe not the popular position, but my position is simply this: finish the job. It began 47 years ago. I remember watching it every night on television when I was a teenager. You know, the American hostages being paraded around, 52 men and women paraded around for 444 days until Ronald Reagan took the oath of office, and it all changed quickly. But this terrorist regime in Tehran, now is not the time to stop. Keep the blockade in place. Finish what we started. Your thoughts?
You articulated it very well, Steve. In fact, I've been dealing with Iran since 1972. When I came back from Vietnam, I was a flight instructor in Pensacola, Florida for 3 years, and we were actually training Iranian flight students. So we got a chance to know these young folks, and this was when the Shah was still in power, and Iran had a pretty good pathway for that country to enable its citizens to live their lives in as free a society as possible under the Shah. You know, this ball started rolling downhill when President Carter totally failed in his foreign policy, but especially in the Middle East. So every president uh, since Jimmy Carter has had a chance to deal with Iran. None have chosen to do that until President Trump decided to. But one of the drivers, and we know this to be a fact, this is a non-negotiable. The Iranian regime is a totalitarian, wacko regime that cannot be allowed to have any enriched nuclear capability. All they would have to do to end this is to say, we abide by the agreement that no enriched nuclear capability, and we are going to let a international group of inspectors go through all of our facilities on at least twice a year basis to make sure we're not lying and cheating. If they did those two things, the world will be a better place for the foreseeable future, because President Trump will have shown himself to be actually a president of peace. But as what Teddy Roosevelt said, keep talks softly but carry a big stick. Well, talking softly, I'm not sure is a hallmark of anything these days, because with all the social media, everybody's yelling and screaming and trying to get their sound bites heard.
Yeah.
But we don't have a choice but to ensure that Iran does not, repeat, not gain any type of enriched nuclear capability.
And if they truly want nuclear power in Iran, that's not a problem. Give them thorium. Thorium creates nuclear power, and it cannot be used as a nuclear weapon. And there it is. We don't even have to negotiate it, sir. I agree with you. Now, shifting gears. I don't know if another district in America has taken it on the chin the way Michigan first has. Let's see, the Gaylord tornado, that ripped the place up pretty good. The ice storm last year was devastating, and now the floods. I mean, your district has been getting beat up by Mother Nature pretty good as of late, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And I was up in the area last weekend and did a tour of the lock in Sheboygan, and I was over in Alpena. I mean, there's standing water all over the place. The question is, where's the moving water? We are blessed in that neck of the woods in Michigan. We've got so many dedicated first responders, emergency management groups, teams, led at the county level, led at the sheriff's level, led, because again, as you just mentioned, we've had, unfortunately, experience last year with the ice storm to test our emergency response capabilities. I believe that what's going forward here, looks like the worst is behind us with the melt gone. And even if there's more rain, the runoff will not pose a problem. But this is an opportunity for the state of Michigan to get its act together and then allow me at the federal level to help with funding. But Michigan, and I believe they're trying to do this, is to work a plan for the entire state in upgrading the infrastructure so that we don't have this happen in the future.
All right, best time of the day. That's when Ivy shows up with that big smile on her face and tries to save what's left of the show.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad.
Another beautiful day. You know, I will say this, talking to the congressman about all the flooding, the rain has stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrific here yesterday. I think the weather's going to be pretty good again today.
Yes.
Maybe that evil thing called winter is finally gone for good.
Woohoo!
Actually, I like winter generally, but it gets to this point in the year, like, we saw
We're all over
snowflakes.
it.
We saw snowflakes, 3-4 days ago. We're like, what?
Yeah.
Enough.
It kind of gets to that time of year where everyone's over the cold temperatures for sure.
Amen.
So have you seen this Logan Gilbert? He is one of the pitchers on the Mariners.
Nope.
So Anthony, I want you to play this. I don't know if you can just do it as B-roll, but he pitched the ball.
All right.
The batter hit it, and it came right back at him, and he went to like catch it, and it went into his shirt, and it caught in his shirt. The Mariners ace crawled one of the most bizarre comebacks in recent memory when absorbing a 107.8 mile per hour liner from Carlos Cortez during the first inning in his jersey. Are you seeing it? Is it
Wow, I
playing?
am. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so he goes, and it's just, how did the ball get through like the two buttons on his shirt to get in there?
Physics, man.
And man,
Physics.
can you imagine? It just had to have just perfectly hit. Because then he's like scrambling. He's confused as to where the ball is.
Yeah, he's looking around, and I see the runner stops on his way to first going, what happened?
Well, what is the rule there? Like, is that an official catch? And
Yeah,
then then he gets out.
Brock Palmbush.
Yeah, I'm just curious. But
Has to be an official catch, right? The ball never hit the ground. It's in his jersey. He pulls it out. He's got the ball.
Yeah, you would think so, but if you look at the umpire, he waves his arms, meaning it's a dead ball. I believe that's an incorrect ruling. That should be a catch.
Right.
Wow.
But if you look at the video, you see the home plate umpire waving his arms over his head, saying it's a dead play. So
Yeah. Okay, well.
I don't know if they review
bad
that,
call.
but yeah,
man, that seems like it should be out. To
He got
me.
robbed. I mean, he's got a bruised rib. He should get something out of that.
Absolutely, I completely
I don't
agree.
think it made contact with his body.
Yeah, anyhow. So it is. I don't know if it may kind of, I would think
Well,
it
I
had
would
to
think
hit
it
a-
had to have like rolled down
Well, you
into
could
the
see
pit
in
of his
the
shirt.
video, He was like sideways, and it caught the shirt. So
Right.
the shirt stopped. It like went
Right.
past his body into the shirt, as if the shirt was like a net, and so it never hit his body.
Interesting. All right.
I would imagine though it had
Well,
to
I-
because it would have rolled down, and then when he picked it out of his shirt.
I don't know where you
'Cause it
found that, Ivy. That's a cool video.
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
it looked like that the ball may have gone in between the area where there's the two buttons in the middle of the uniform.
Exactly.
And it's uniform.
Yeah.
Bam.
Crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
crazy. Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting one of those things where you look at it and go, "Whoa, how the heck did that happen?" It was a one in a lifetime type of thing.
Yeah.
But PepsiCo is also removing its artificial dyes from Gatorade products starting in 2026.
Speaking of sports, so this year.
This year, and this is just surprising to me. Why does it take, like the movement of MAHA and the changes that RFK is bringing to health in America? Why does it take that to me, it's like doing the right thing.
Right.
It's like they can use other dyes or other like natural fruits and vegetables to create dye.
Right. All these things have been banned in Europe for years. But
Right.
here in America, see, again, you've got all these, in effect, they're not monopolies, but they've got this control. You've got big pharma, big oil, big ag, and big food. These big
Right.
food companies, well, if we can put in a little squirt of this blue.
It's a lot cheaper. So that's,
Sure, that's
obviously
my
the
point. They
thing,
make
yeah.
money. But you look, if you go into the convenience store and you see the rack of Gatorade, you got blue and green
Honestly,
and red.
Powerade is worse because Powerade, I think the second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup.
Ugh.
So you have blue dye, you have high fructose corn syrup. It's like, what kind of energy drink, or the hydration drink is this?
Right.
This is garbage.
Why not just put methamphetamines in there and just get to it?
Well, how about just water and Celtic sea salt or Himalayan sea salt? That's a far better resource for electrolytes than drinking a sugary drink.
There's Dr. Ivy laying out the facts. Yeah,
So
there it is.
so I think someone had asked, in terms of health tips. Well, be a label reader. If you don't recognize an ingredient
If
on
you
the
can't-
label,
If you can't pronounce it,
Correct.
don't eat it.
exactly. And there's also a really great app called Yucca, Yuka.
Great app.
It's free. You can scan any product, food wise, and you can also scan like facial products or body products,
Other things, yeah.
and it will rate it. Depending on, if it has things in it you shouldn't be consuming. It's very, very helpful. Actually, when we play a game, when we go to the store as a family, we're like, okay, what's this going to score?
Yeah. We're always looking for what's going to score 0.
Right. So the higher the score, 100 out of 100 is a perfect food in terms of there isn't anything in it terrible for you.
But by the way, for those of you keeping score at home, this is why I'm going to live to be 100, because I've got the food cop next to me every time I'm in the store. Her name is Ivy, official food cop. We got to leave it right there.
All right. Tomorrow we're
Wait,
going to talk
no,
about...
we don't. No, we don't. I'm looking at the wrong clock here again today.
Oh, no.
Twice now. Anyhow, carry on. You've got a minute.
All right. So a researcher believes he may have found evidence of Noah's Ark in eastern Turkey.
Saw that.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mount Ararat.
There's like new underground scans using ground penetrating radar and soil analysis that is used there might
And
be
they say
some-
everything's consistent, and they're finding timbers now. And so this goes back a number of years. Mount Ararat, Turkey,
Mount
right?
Ararat, correct.
It's at what, 7,000, 8,000 feet above sea level. So here it is, the shape of a boat. You can see it clearly from the images.
It's underground structures that look like corridors or rooms, a central passageway, and multiple layers that resemble a ship's decks, a shape and size that roughly match the biblical dimensions of Noah's Ark. Soil inside the formation showed higher organic material and potassium. Not sure exactly what that means, but
there it is.
And chemical patterns that researchers say would indicate decayed wood.
Yeah.
So all very interesting.
Yeah, modern science proving biblical truth.
Yeah.
There you have it. It's a fascinating story that's
It
been
is.
back in the headlines the last couple of days. Ivy, love
Absolutely.
you.
Love you too, Steve.
Greatly appreciate you.
I appreciate you more.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I'll have some final thoughts after this. All right, I want to give a shout out to one of our good friends and partners of this program, Wolverine Water. They are Michigan's premier water treatment company for more than 75 years. Michigan-made products sold by Michigan people, delivered by Michigan people, and serviced by Michigan people. Wolverine Water System, delivering Michigan's best water for years now. If you want a reverse osmosis system, they're the place. If you got water that's a little funky or skunky, they can fix that. If you got hard water problems in your toilet or your sink or your shower, they can fix that. Wolverine Water Systems. You just tell my good friend Paul Mahaney, who I'm guessing is probably catching walleye as we speak, but if he were in the office, you could tell him that we sent you on over, WolverineWaterSystems.com, WolverineWaterSystems.com. And I say he's probably walleye fishing because he's big into it, and the walleye, from what I understand, are on fire right now in the Detroit River and down that way. Although I did see yesterday, the water was rough. I saw a boat that got swamped, and the Coast Guard had to go out and help out those walleye fishermen. It's not worth sinking the boat, boys. That's just my... Is it worth sinking the boat, Ivy? No, she says.
Well, sometimes, maybe.
Well, sometimes. I don't know. How big's the fish? Good point, Anthony. If it's a state record, sink the boat, catch the fish. Brilliant advice from the control room this morning.
Don't mention it.
I appreciate you. Anyhow, if you want to get a hold of us, send us an email, stevegruber.com. Remember to follow us on all the social media platforms. Let's see, X, Facebook, Instagram. Go to YouTube, become a subscriber for free. Catch the Forgotten America podcast. It's all there for you. All we do is work for you. We're just slaving ourselves every day, working our fingers to the bone, just for you. Why? Because you're worth it. Right, Anthony?
Yeah, my hands are bleeding right
now. Boy. All right. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy. And remember, my friends, only you and Anthony can save America.